Houston, I stand close to the potential shrapnel. Hey, thank you all for coming out on a Saturday. God bless you all for turning out. We have had so many gatherings. Yeah, honk that horn. We've had so many gatherings on this exact spot. At some point, and I'll ask my legislative friends, and this is Legislative Plaza. At some point, shouldn't we change the name of this plaza where we've seen the horn honking, where we've seen the April 15th rally, where we've seen events like this, to simply Freedom Plaza? Because that's what this place represents increasingly to people in Tennessee. It's where we can speak our mind even when they don't want to listen here or in Washington, D.C. And they're being heard in places like Washington, D.C. I love this sign, but I always love the signs at these things, by the way. I love that Judas got 30 pieces of silver. What did Bart Gordon get? I mentioned this morning on our Saturday edition of the show that the Democrats have all these caucuses. They got this caucus and that caucus. They need a Judas caucus. And unfortunately, Bart Gordon and Lincoln Davis and John Tanner and Jim Cooper, they'd be at the front of the line. I don't know if you've heard Bart Gordon, who has now spent and misrepresented us in Congress for all these many years, has decided to vote yes because he doesn't have to face us in November. John Tanner apparently planning to vote yes because he doesn't have to face us in November. We called Jim Cooper's office. Somebody gave us his cell phone number. And I mentioned it on the air. Not surprisingly, he's been getting a lot of phone calls. If you'll go to our website, gillreport.com, I've got it under the daily notes. Keep that number because he ought to be hearing from us a lot for the next several weeks and months as we approach November, regardless of how he votes on this bill. Because as of 2 hours ago, he was saying, I'm doing my homework. Do we have any teachers here? If you wait till this stage of the game for the test, isn't it a little bit late to be doing your homework? If he hadn't read the bill and understand by now that this thing is a destructive, dangerous, ridiculous assault on America's constitutional liberties, he's never going to get it. I don't care how much he studies. You know, the president this week said that everything that's been said and can be said and should be said has been said, and now we need to vote. Not surprisingly, the president's wrong again. One thing hasn't been said loudly enough, clearly enough, sincerely enough, dramatically enough, and loud enough, and that's no. That's the last thing that needs to be said on this bill, and the American people need to be shouting it from roadsides and rooftops so that they have to hear us in places like the Capitol in Washington. This battle will finish tomorrow with some vote, up or down. No. We shouldn't deal in such complicated terminology. These guys don't understand complicated terms like that. You know, the bottom line is they're going to cast a vote tomorrow. John Boehner, the Republican leader, has come up with a great idea. He suggested that they follow the rules. I know, shocking, isn't it? That they follow the rules, and why not let members of Congress actually step up and state their vote? Yes or no? Call the roll and let the members stand up and vote. Now, needless to say, Nancy Pelosi is terrified at this because she's got a lot of folks that are wanting to be like cockroaches, and I apologize to cockroaches everywhere for comparing them to Congress. But she wants these guys to be like cockroaches and dash out of the baseboard, push their vote, and then dash back into the baseboard out of sight. John Boehner and the Republicans are saying we ought to stand up. If you're going to do this to the American people, you ought to be willing to stand up and say yes in a loud, clear voice, or say no and side with the American people. Now, the reason, unfortunately, that's not going to happen is because Commissar Pelosi is the one that gets to decide whether the roll call vote takes place. And the reason she can't have that happen is if members of Congress start seeing what others before them are doing, she'll lose, if she has a majority, that scant majority. Because people can't wait to see, does she need me or not, based on the votes on the board, where they can wait to see, do they need my vote or not? Do I get my payoff or not? Do they release those pictures of me with that goat or that dog or not? We don't know what they're doing to get the votes. But they want to be able to see if they need that vote, because this thing's going to pass by 1 vote, 2 votes max. Because anybody that doesn't have to vote yes is not going to vote yes. If they have to step up in alphabetical order, There's a lot of folks that are going to be further down the pack that are going to go, well, if he voted no, it's not going to happen, I'm a no vote. They aren't going to know how to count if they have to step up and face the American people in the well of the Congress and tell us where they stand by themselves, not hiding in a pack, but standing up and stating their answer. That's how democracy should work. That's how votes should take place, in public, in the light of day. You know, our founding fathers didn't just say, we deem this Declaration of Independence passed. We don't want to put our name on it. We don't want to cast a vote on it. We'll just pretend we read it and deem that we passed it. They signed their names in big, bold flourish, knowing that there were guys in red coats that were happy to hang them and kill them for what they were doing. They were not afraid. They were not gutless. They were not cowards. And it is time for us to start sending people to Washington who will stand up in the same way for the American people. There is not a member of Congress who votes yes on this bill who should go back to Washington in November. There is not a Democrat in the State House or the State Senate that isn't out here today who should go back to the state capitol in November. They are all the same. Every single one is the same. There is only one vote on Democrats in November, and that's the same vote on this bill. No, no, no. God bless you, and God bless America.